Welcome, everyone and gentlemen, and ladies and friends, whoever is watching this, as well as these two amazing people here. I got the opportunity to sit down, or actually stand, with a man in his bat cave closet set up right now, Mister Kevin Johnson, an avid tattoo collector, entrepreneur, and a man with a mission and a plan to truly help tattoo history stay valid and in the awareness of society. Thank you so much, Kevin, for taking the time to sit down and chat with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure for sure, guys. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin, like we're getting to know you. And for anyone that's watching this that wants to get to know you a little bit too, I know you got a cool history. We'd love to kind of get a little background. Give us your origin story or
All
a little
right,
bit
yeah,
about yourself.
let's do it. So I grew up in actually I grew up directly across the street from Jack Rudy's first house that from his first marriage in 70. My years might be a little screwed up, like 76 or 77. He bought it, and when I moved, my parents moved in there in 75. So I think I was one or two, and he bought that first house with his first wife, Debbie, who I grew up with my whole life, and his two daughters, who are like sisters to me now. I haven't seen Yvonne in a long time, but Vanessa and I are like family. So growing up in that part of East LA, like it's the Southeast LA, we were not, none of our friends growing up, none of us were into celebrities, not even sports stars. It was the lowrider, the car scenes, the tattoo world was our. It's an area in Los Angeles where you looked up to guys like Jack Rudy and Charlie Cartwright and Freddie Negretti. Like since we were little kids, like, oh, that's Jack's house. That's Jack's house. Like people would literally drive from all over LA just to drive by his pad, hoping he'd be outside. And I lived
Mm,
directly across the street as a little kid, not knowing, like I was literally 5 years old, and Jack's like, "Hey, Holmes, you want to mow my grass?" And my mom's like, "He's got mow your grass. He's 5," and she's like, but he just wanted to throw me down some cheese, like some money because he saw. And then in the neighborhood I grew up in, I was the only white kid. So Jack's like, he looks like a Chicano dude from East LA, but he's really, he's a white dude from, and I'm not sure Jack's story. Adopted the whole thing. It's pretty rad. So he kind of just took us dudes that were right there by Vanessa, because we took care of Vanessa and Yvonne too. He just took us under his wings our whole life. And so we all looked up to the tattoo community in general. Like it wasn't about, I mean, I look at my son now who's 18 now, and they're looking at celebrities and sports players. And all. When we were kids, we could care less. Like I think I don't even remember watching TV. We're on our lowrider bikes riding around and out in the streets just causing a mess and looking up to
mm,
guys like Jack Rudy, whoever had the coolest lowrider or the car or that kind of thing.
mm,
So at a very, very young age, that was who we looked up to. And he really was like a second father to me in the sense of that, you know, I think I was like 12 years old when I blasted like my mom's name, and he came by and he lit me up. He's like,
mm,
what the fuck are you doing, you guys? And there was like 10 of us. We're all proud of it to show him. And he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You wait till you're 18. You don't do it in the streets. You don't do it. You
mm,
guys are gonna, and like give us this whole thing. We thought we could be all thinking it's cool, and he was not cool with it. He's like,
mm,
you wait till you're 18. You come see me. I'm gonna take care of you guys. And so it was like, of course we didn't wait. Well, we got a whole bunch of fart work all over us at that point, but
mm,
that's where it all started for me. It was, and then
mm,
knowing that I was in such a love for tattooing my whole life. I went to conventions with him. I went to conventions with all these old timers because of Jack, because I'd just be around as a youngster, just going and checking them out. All the old Inkslinger ones. I remember we rode our bicycles to Hollywood, which was nowhere near where we live. I mean, you're talking 4 or 5 hour mission, stayed at a friend's house, and then the next day to be able to go to the convention underage, like sneaking in, no money, going through the back. Like, dude, that was the cool thing for us. So tattooing in general, I've always really looked at it in a different way. It was just a way of expression and a way of life, and there is a
mm,
true culture to for me. And then now that I'm 49 a couple of days ago. Now my whole life I've just been really going just diving into it, man. Like I'm a collector. I wish I was an artist, like in my own head. It's like my art is business. I'm kind of a business guy, and so I have so much admiration, and I really respect these artists because I'm an art collector too, not just tattoos. I collect art in general, sculptures, paintings, you name it, cars too. And tattooing is the one thing I'm gonna take to my grave. Everything else I'm gonna leave to my family, but my tattoos are the only thing. I can't take
mm,
money with me. I can't take misery. I can't take happiness, but I can take my tattoos with me. So it's the one
mm,
thing I
mm.
have on me, that it's the only thing that I've brought to my own self that I'm gonna take with me till the day I die. So, and then even after that.
Nice. That's a soundbite right there for sure. Can't take anything but you take your tattoos with you.
That's it.
Yeah, that's dope. So I see you're growing up across from Jack. You're getting into the tattoo scene. But by the way, just a quick question. You said you went to the Ink Slingers Ball. What years did you go, or year did you go?
Oh man, I don't even know. I was probably this is way back. I remember Gil Monty. Like I was scared of him because he was
Mm-hmm.
this, to me he
Mm-hmm.
was this wild, crazy guy.
Oh,
This was
he
a
still
long
is, yeah.
time ago. Yeah. Oh yeah, he is. I know Gil pretty well still. I love the guy too. I couldn't tell you what years. I mean, I have one of my friends. I have one friend that's still alive that would actually know. Everyone else has passed
Yeah,
away or in prison. But I should find that year out. So we went a couple years actually, but the year that we
that's
snuck in, I always think about, right? Because we were, then we went legit
boy.
later. But
Well,
I'll find
I
out those
I
years.
just asked because I was the Ink Slingers Ball in Hollywood was my first two conventions, 2000 2001, and you're right, it was crazy. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just a different vibe then. It was not like tattoo conventions today. I remember there was a lot of, don't quote me which bike club was there, but there was quite a bit of that scene, right? And it was
Oh yeah,
very
for sure.
intimidating to be a tattoo artist there. But I remember Gil Monte was there. Even Mario Barth was there. Dino Cook, Jack Rudy, Brian
All of
Everett.
them.
Yeah, it was
Oh
there.
yeah, all
Mm-hmm.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian's like family too. Is a good dude.
Yeah.
Here's what it's one thing like I don't we'll never be able to give it back to because I brought my son who's this blonde haired water polo player kid Huntington Beach doesn't nothing like I grew up at all. He's been to a ton of tattoo conventions.
Nice.
What was I think where I felt where the love of like the real culture for me was going to those old shows because it was like you're in the middle of Hollywood where you could walk, they're filming multi-million-dollar movies and then you're going in somewhere where there's a bunch of one percenters, there's a bunch of gangsters
Mm-hmm.
that I knew that were like scary dudes, and there's a bunch, and they're intermingling, they're there to get tattooed, they're there to, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it was just it definitely was a different world, but I also loved it. Like I don't know, and I still love it, so it comes from what it is now, which I respect it too, right? The art form of what it is now, but what it came from, what it was born out of, is people don't understand. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you were to look at writing, film, books, anything, they what they're born from and what it was born from in LA, especially, and the whole black and gray scene now and everything else. What tattooing to me was born from comes from a dark past, right? Like some of it, right? But it's like it was all the gangsters, it was the one percenters, it was those are the rock and roll dudes. Those were the dudes that were getting tattooed when I was a kid, right? And there was in sailors and military. Even those dudes are gnarly, right? They're risking their lives for us. So it's like those
Mm-hmm.
guys. I had
Mm-hmm.
respect for all of them. Like if you chose that life, I don't care what it was. For when I was young, that's who you respected. It's like these guys who
Mm-hmm.
had nothing, and what they took was what was free, which was being a knucklehead or giving your life to the military or whatever it was. And to see where it's progressed to now, I respect it too. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to some of these conventions and I walk around. I'm like, man, it's Disneyland now. It's not, but it's cool though.
It's
It's cool.
far
I'm I'm
cry.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked that people, whether they realize it or not, they what they tattooed on their bodies has a history and a culture that some people don't understand. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I'm an advocate of music too, and so it's like it reminds me of blues music. Like you can go to a Jelly Roll show or a whatever concert you want to go to now, but if you knew how true blues was or even jazz way back in the day, it was brutal for those guys. Those guys come from
Yeah.
off the fields, and that music has history too. And it's like I respect where that comes from because it comes from a not the most easy shiny place in the world, so
I'm glad you said that because you mentioned the blues and you helped establish the House of Blues. You want to speak to that at all, or?
yeah. So I got hired at House of Blues as the bottom of the barrel, man. I just was I had ended up going to a junior college and learning like all the sound and lights and that kind of stuff, and so I got hired to be on the stage as a just a normal working on the stages, and every 4 months I got promoted. And so I became the guy that opened every House of Blues in the
Hmm.
country from 1999 on. And when I left as
Wow.
a junior executive, and um, it was the best time. I met the best people. I
Mm.
was able to travel the world with, and I still do, with some of the best musicians you ever even heard of, and it was a great experience. And it really even coincided with tattooing for me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I do have big giant pieces that are some jailhouse pieces, but also I have some great collection from some great artists. So there was always
Mm-hmm.
that connection with some of those dudes too, on the
Mm-hmm.
road and doing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, opening all the House of Blues gave me my knowledge for restaurants. Since I was a little kid, I always said I wanted to own a restaurant, and so House of Blues was like my free training. I never went to school for it. I just absorbed it. Coming from I was a poor kid. We didn't have any money growing up. I just learned to observe and try to figure it out for myself, and House of Blues was great. It was owned by celebrities, the Aykroyds, all those dudes, and they were like, they didn't give a fuck if you had been locked up. They didn't care if you were covered in tattoos. They just knew if you worked hard, they're going to keep promoting you. And every 4 to 6 months for the 13 years I was there, I would get promoted whether I wanted to or not. Because I just worked my ass off. So it
That's
ended
so
up
cool.
being super cool for my life actually. So it set me up
Yeah.
for success.
That's cool. Well, we got this background. Growing up around Jack, and then getting I'm sure you collected tattoos, right? And then
Right.
it transitions into like this, apprenticeship on restaurants and establishing yourself through the House of Blues. And then you went into opening restaurants and
Yeah,
other
so
businesses.
the first restaurant I opened, which is second floor, Food Art Drinks, it's literally all tattoo art based
Mm,
restaurant. So when I first opened it, I have a good friend of mine that a lot of you guys know that I won't bring up his name but he one time he's a very close friend of mine. He came at me extremely stressed because he had a client that got really that was the client's fault, right? Didn't take care of a massive tattoo and ended up having a massive infection. And I've noticed a lot of these tattooers have a lot of love in their souls, and it really bothered him that he hurt her so much. I'm
mm,
like, dude, it's not you, bro. Like, the person was a stripper and she went straight to work that same night. I'm like, and he was young and I was young
mm-hmm.
at the time. I just remember thinking, I wish I could create some sort of avenue for tattooers to make money and not just tattooing, right? Like, I'm like, if there was some way, because even like the old timers, like talking to them and realizing there's no 401k for even for
No.
me, right? There's no retirement plans, there's no even social security for a lot of them. So it's like there's no like, and there's not for me either as I mean, House of Blues of course, but now as a business owner I don't have that. So I just remember like really thinking about it for a few years and knowing I was going to open my own restaurant. So I did the art gallery concept, which is second floor, Food Art Drinks in Huntington, and we sell tons of art, and my goal, I give 100% of the sales to the artists, no matter what kind of artist it is. So that was always my goal, is to just keep, doing these art shows and we make our money off food and drinks. It's part of the concept, but it really was to give back to the tattooers and the artists. And we've had some artists in there for, we're 15 years open now. So it's like, we have artists in there that'll tell me, hey, you helped me put my kid through school, or, you helped pay my
Wow.
rent for this long, or however it is. So I've never pushed it big enough, I think, in the community that we give 100% to the artists, just because I also don't want it to feel it's more of a thing that we just do. Of course, I try to let people know that, just so that artists don't feel like, hey, what are they getting out of it? We're not getting anything out of it. We could
Hmm.
buy the art, have it on the walls, and sell it and make money tomorrow. And over the years, when we started out, we had all original pieces, and then now it's got down to a lot of Jaclays and stuff like that through some of the art promoters, and we don't take a dime from any of those guys. It just becomes, apologize guys, becomes one of those things where I just really want to give back. So, and we still do art shows constantly. I mean, we do a bunch now. We're doing a bunch of benefits and stuff, and again, we give all the money to the tattooers, so, or the artists. Like, now we're doing more than just tattooers, any artist really. It's over the
Hmm.
15 years it's
Hmm.
progressed to where a lot of tattooers, or some tattooers, don't paint at all or do art. So
Nice. Well, before we get to the current, kind of the topic of the Heritage Project, I do know you're also part or involved with a tattoo supply company. Is that something that kind of
yeah,
was
so
born out of the?
Big Island Mike, he's in Oahu. I'm sure you guys all know the guys. He's like my brother. He's a good friend of mine. Him and I met many years ago through Rick Walters. Rick Walters and I became extremely close. His wife actually gave me his fedora he wore every day, so it's like my
Wow.
prized possession that I keep in my room.
Mm,
But Him and I became great friends. And Mike he just opened a new shop just in Waikiki, and he also started in the whole tattoo. Hawaii is a interesting area, right? They have like I think one guy, maybe two guys that are doing supplies. So Mike has a great idea of really trying to build a tattoo supply company from tattooers, from a
mm-hmm,
tattooer, which is him. I'm just really here. I'm really just his partner in the sense of help, get it off the ground and get it rolling. And
mm-hmm.
anything that's tattoo based that someone asks me to do, I'm excited to do. And I've, over the years, there's been quite a few little projects that necessarily don't make any money, but it's okay. For me, it's like, it's for the love of doing it. And then there's things that have been very successful. So I enjoy being behind anybody in the tattoo community that's trying to do something extra. If I can
Mm-hmm.
help out in any way, like, I feel like I'm giving back a little bit, to something that's given
Oh
so
yeah.
much to me. So
Well, you're doing it right now. I mean, you're here talking about the Tattoo Heritage Project, and you're involved with, an amazing concept and vision of bringing all tattoo history as much as possible into one location for generations to appreciate. So what I know you're really close with Jack and Charlie and that crew. Is that what kind of got you involved with the Tattoo Heritage Project? Did they reach out to you, or is it just like,
Yeah, I got a massive, my entire back, my entire my chest, I got a massive back piece with like 90% of it is Chewy Quintanar, Mark
mm-hmm,
Mahoney, and Freddie Negretti, and then
nice?
Chewy like 25 years ago or 20 years ago now, I think, or anyways, he did my whole side, and Chewy and I have become close friends. I've been at our kids' birthday parties and the whole bit, and when I heard about it, of course, this is like right up my alley, right? I'm like, this is something that's it's something that's can be so cool, and I have brought so many people into the tattoo industry that don't have a tattoo because of the
Mm,
restaurant. I don't even know anything about it, and like I've been shut down. I can go on and on with you guys about when I first opened, how I would go to a city to open another one, because at one point I had 9 restaurants, and I'd go to open another second floor, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're not gonna have a tattoo restaurant here," or you guys tattoo
mm,
in the restaurant. I'm like, "No, we don't tattoo this."
mm,
So I have to fight this battle constantly to try to like, to try to. This was 15 years ago. It's changed a lot now, but I just remember being such a big battle for me, and then because of that, bringing so many people up even to into second floor, even till today, 15 years later, people come up from our town and be like, "Oh, I've never come up here because I heard it's a tattoo thing," and then they come up and they enjoy it and they love it and have a great time. So it's like,
nice.
so when the tattoo heritage thing even got mentioned to me, and Chewy Quintanar, he's the one who came to me and said, "Hey, Kevin, I would really like you to get involved in this because I know as a business side of it, something we're kind of missing. We have
Mm,
so many great people involved, but I am a business guy, so they're like." Getting you involved, I think would be a great, and it's been like, I told everyone, like, I have tons of other projects besides what we talked about, but I'm like, this is something I have my heart behind because,
mm-hmm,
it's almost like it's like tattooing set, right? When I die someday, if it becomes not if when it becomes a true museum, it'll be here forever.
mm-hmm,
And all
mm-hmm,
of us that are tattooed will have the one place that it's like everybody involved. The one thing I want to get out there that like because I know tattooers, I'm like Switzerland, right? There's drama in the tattoo industry. There's, sort of God, it's a drama in the tattoo industry from this shop or that shop or this person or that person, but everyone knows I'm chill with everybody. I don't get involved, right? Like I come from a place where like if we don't like each other, well then let's just go scrap out in the alley and get it over with, and then hug each other and have a beer, right? I don't want to
mm-hmm,
keep drama, 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 and there's all this drama, and I don't get involved. I listen to everybody. I know it all. I just stay quiet and be like, okay, cool. They're like, oh, saw you. Why are we talking to this dude? And I'm like, it's not. I don't have that issue. If I have an issue with someone, I'll deal with it my way, right? But it's like that's just how I am. But because of that, I hear some grumblings a little bit about things like the tattoo heritage. The one thing that needs to be out there is that this is nobody is getting anything out of this. I mean, personally, right? Everybody involved is literally doing it for the love of tattoo and the heritage and the history. Like but every one of them involved is doing it for the love of what tattooing is. And me, who's just a collector, right? I'm just a collector and an advocate of the industry and of the art. It's like that is what really needs to be out there. That everyone involved. I mean, truly, who has the most amazing collection, all these people who are donating and giving up their collections or letting it being used or giving it, it's literally for the love of it. I mean, I'm extremely busy. I sleep 3 hours a day. I work 20
mm,
hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm putting as
damn.
much time towards this as I can because I feel like it's something we're giving back. All of us that are, we only have so much time in this earth, right? If we're lucky, if we're lucky, we live 80, 90 years. Most of us are going to live 70. So it's like, if we can even help, even this interview, right? If you guys are able to help expose what we're trying to do and it happens and comes to fruition, not if, when it happens, it's something
Mm-hmm,
that'll be there forever. It's like all these
mm-hmm.
music. I mean, I'm not sure where are you guys at located?
I'm in
Are
I'm
you
in New
guys?
Pennsylvania.
Mexico.
You're in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you're with the Everetts. You're right there with the Everetts.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
and you're in Pennsylvania, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So, I mean, there's museums in all these cities, right?
mm-hmm,
And it's like, and for natural history, whatever it's going to be. And it's like, it's one thing that normally doesn't go away is a really good museum. So it'd be amazing to have for all of us guys from Pennsylvania and New Mexico. I wouldn't even care
mm-hmm,
what city or that have something that you're part of. And that, what I
mm-hmm,
mean, part of it, it's like, I don't care if you got the 3 dot tattoos or your one drunken flash tattoo in your arm,
mm-hmm,
you're part of it. You're part of
mm-hmm,
your, once
mm-hmm,
you're tattooed, and to know that we can create a brick and mortar space that is it it's just huge. It's bigger than people realize.
mm-hmm,
It's like to get behind this is super cool. And for me personally, a big part of why I'm doing it is for Charlie. I'm not sure if you guys got
Yeah.
to know Charlie, but Charlie
Mm-hmm.
is a legend in himself. The way he carries himself, the way he talks, the way everybody who knows him cares about him. It's like, Charlie's in his 80s now, and it's like if we can make this thing happen for him, it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
someone who's given up his whole life for this industry, and not given
Mm-hmm.
up, who's given his life to his industry. It's like they would feel, pretty Bonnaroo, right? Like to be part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, he's a good man, and for him to see it come to fruition in his lifetime, I'm sure would be a job well done, right?
Yeah,
Knowing that he
exactly.
he he helped that come to fruition, and yeah, we just recently talked to Corey Miller, and he did talk about just perceptions of what the Heritage Project is all about. But we want to rest assure anyone who is watching this that it is really just a place to showcase anyone and everyone's collections and collectibles and art and whatever they've archived, and there's different ways. We even talked about Kimiko, where it could be on display digitally, and really it's just a way for us to come together and collaborate, which could be foundational in Long Beach, because who knows, like you said, eventually it may spawn into a tattoo museum in New Mexico or in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, where it just
absolutely.
becomes a
Absolutely.
part, because it's so ingrained in our heritage. So I mean, I love the vision, and I know you're able to bring a lot of skills and abilities and people and communicate relationships to the Tattoo
Right.
Heritage Project. I know you're like being able to bring some of the city
Officials.
politicians,
Right.
officials, being able to get in front of like tourism. The Queen Mary was mentioned.
Right.
Um, Want to speak to that at all, or just
Yeah,
that
so the Queen Mary
effort?
is brought up, and I think the Queen Mary is awesome, right? The history it has,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, if you Google Queen Mary, just you're not gonna be able to look at Google searches without seeing someone with a Queen Mary tattoo on them, and it's one in 19, I think 82 or something was the first convention on the Queen Mary or something like that. And so it has all this history. And then the Pike, which is no longer there, was, that's where Carrie's shop is, which is the oldest, I think, active shop in the United States, right? It's like the history of tattooing there. It's where Charlie started, all the legends started. As a kid, my dad was a Navy guy. I remember being very little and going to the Pike and it just being sketchy and scary and broken wood and all this stuff. And that's where it's like the carnival style tattoo kind of thing all over the place. It was
Mm-hmm.
so freaking
Mm-hmm.
cool, right? And so it's like the history of there. So we met with the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is actually down to do it. The logistics of the Queen Mary is kind of hard, right? Like it's still an option. I think they want us to do it. The city of Long Beach wants us to do it. City of Long Beach has been great. Like they're so I love to be around anybody who's down for tattooing in general, right? And then the
Mm-hmm.
city of Long Beach, when we went to, and we had to go in front of the city council, and they unanimously voted for it, right? Like, yeah, let's get this thing here somehow. And they want
Nice.
to make it happen. And Cindy, who's with the city, she was just great. All Actually everybody. There was not one person that opposed it, not one person in the crowd that opposed it. All the posts, if you read all the posts, everybody's like, of course you got some haters that are like, oh, who's gonna go to a tattoo museum? Well, trust me, they'll be there.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Queen Mary has some pretty awesome logistically. I just want to be careful, right? Like we do this, I want to do it right, and I want to make sure that it's not hard to find in the sense of like when you go on the ship, it be somewhere. So um, these meetings with the city and these council meetings and exposure, like what you guys are doing, is getting us more people coming at us, right? So we have a couple other locations. I'm not sure how much we're supposed to talk about it, but that are pretty freaking amazing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
almost cooler than the Queen Mary in the sense of like
Wow.
Queen Mary's a badass, and that's still a top option. But there's another option that's literally the Pike entrance, the
Mm.
original one. So they were talking to those
Wow.
guys right now, which would literally be where you had to walk through to go to it. That building, they're offering it to us too. So the big thing for us is, and we'll get there, is got to raise capital.
Yeah.
We have none of us get paid. Nobody gets paid. Everyone does this
Mm-hmm.
for what they're doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's expenses to it, right? Like you're trying to raise this money, and it's funny, we'll raise some money and then just buying flyers or shirts, and we're giving back too. We do city events. Part of being a nonprofit, you have to give back every year. So
Mm-hmm.
the money we do
Mm-hmm.
raise, we've been doing all these other events and stuff too, to try to make it happen. But I'm we're gonna do Long Beach no matter what, because the history of tattooing is deeper in Long Beach than I think it is um, in on the West Coast for sure. And I'm not sure about the East Coast, but the amount of tattooing that happened at the Pike is probably more than anywhere that I know of in the United States.
Mhm.
Just because of sailors, all the military came through there, and they had, I don't know, Charlie could tell you how many shops and guys just banging out, just bangers that they're bang all day long, just dudes in
Mhm.
lines, for
Mhm.
decades, literally decades of doing that. So
Mhm.
it's going to be, whether it ends up being at the Queen Mary or ends up being a location, no matter what the location, is going to be awesome. I want it to be permanent, right? So that's the hard thing as a business guy. Like, I'm trying to work deals where we get either a 99-year lease or someone gives us the space,
Wow.
because I don't want it
Mhm.
to be something, oh yeah, you can be here for 2 years and then all 2 years later you're
Sure.
fighting for it again, right? So
Mhm.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna fight for it. Churches do it, and tattooing is a lot of
Mhm.
people's church. So it's like,
Sure.
it's like for
Sure.
me, when I get tattooed, it's a religious experience for me. I'm doing
Oh,
6, 8, 10 hour, sessions, and it is a religious experience. It helps
it
me.
is.
People talk about tattoo therapy, but it's a real thing for me, for a lot of us.
Mhm.
So I think us creating this space and getting this space, and I do look at it like churches because they're nonprofits. They're able to do it. Every church you
Mhm.
see is a nonprofit, and a lot of them have these free buildings. So we're gonna do the
Mhm.
same thing for the tattoo industry.
I love that because yeah, you're right. Tattooing can be a spiritual experience, and it's such a paradox, right? Putting this,
Right.
as we talk about, permanent artwork on our temporary bodies, right? And
Yep.
something we carry in through, who knows, into maybe the spiritual realm. We don't know. But I'm a tattooer. I've been tattooing for 24 years. But Forrest right here is a avid collector, just as yourself. This man has an
Awesome.
amazing bodysuit and truly appreciates tattooing as well. So I know that there's probably some really cool stories you can tell us about your tattoos on your body, Kevin, and then maybe we can kind of explore that because again, I think it's so important for people to see us that realize that who would go to a tattoo museum? Freaking a lot of people because
Yeah,
tattooing can
totally.
change your life
Yep.
physically, mentally, spiritually, on so many levels.
Yeah, so that's the great thing to me too. Like, you see guys like us, for us, we're collectors, right? And I can already tell you have some color work, and you have, I'm sure it's a beautiful. I have like the raw, like, I'll show you guys some stuff that we can't see in this camera, but like, I have a giant piece on my chest that's a jail, something that you get in prison with a handmade gun and a guitar string, right? And then I have Chewy and Jack and all these guys surrounding this stuff. So my history is pretty,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally a timeline of my life, what I got going on, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I have a bunch of like, I remember Chewy was working on my side, and we literally had so many sessions. This is 20 years ago, and we had so many sessions, and I was working at House of Blues at the time, and time was always my enemy. And he's like, dude, I have the whole day off. I go, I got the whole day off. He goes, I'll stay as long as you can stay. He tattooed me for 11 and a half hours, right? And he's like, this has got to be one of the longest. He just kept going and going and going. And he's like, I said, I'm not going to tap. And it became a spiritual, mental, physical
Mm-hmm.
thing to where, you get into like the seventh, eighth hour, and I don't even feel it. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
mentally, and now people are watching. This is at Tattoo Land at Jack's shop that he was doing
Mm-hmm.
this tattoo. And so guys are coming in being, holy crap, he's still doing it. And then we started early. It was late night, and I got off. And then Antonio, I'm sure Mahia, who's this guy's, he's, I have so much love for him. He like, I'm not sure you guys, he's on the board too now. When you guys talk to him, he literally has like an aura about him, and like, he puts off this energy that's like, there's only one of him, I swear. And he has this a lot of spiritual, like, I don't even know how to explain it. You guys, when you guys talk to him or you guys meet him, he and he's worked for Jack for a long time, has his own shop now in Pomona. But I remember I got tattooed for 11 hours, and then he made a joke about, hey, you want to get tattooed? You want to get tattooed again? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so I literally jumped from that 11-hour session, and then got tattooed for 3 hours with Antonio. And he
Wow.
and he did these cherubs on my shoulders, and there, it was more of a joke than anything else, right? Like, it was like, holy shit, you're gonna sit. But I remember being like in this high, like, literally, I don't do drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and but I remember feeling like I was on this total high where I felt good for, even though I was sore as fuck the next few days. But I remember
Mm-hmm.
feeling like that was the best experience ever. That full day, those 13, 14 hours total I was there, was like uh it was a spiritual thing for me. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and my goal is to be totally suited to, it's like, it's I'm tattooed a lot different than a lot of guys, right? So like, my arms between from here on are totally blank, my neck's blank. The only tattoo I have is this, right? Because when I first got tattooed, it's a funny story, everyone probably has them, is that I have my legs, my lower legs are done in jail. My whole chest and stomach was done, and I tattooed this chick with these massive tits on my calf, and I hated it, but I always crossed my legs, right? And the reason why then we had to hide our tattoos. So when you're busted, you couldn't show them. So we didn't get our arms done. Then this is the juvenile stuff. And I had my calf done, and I hated it. And I remember thinking, I have this weird, probably an OCD, like a lot of people do. I'm like, what am I gonna put on my arms that I'm not gonna hate? As a
Mm-hmm.
kid, I was a kid then though. I'm like, because I hated this chick on my leg, and I was gonna cover her, I never did, but I remember she has these giant obscure boobs, you know. I'm like, I look like the biggest pig you could imagine, but I was like, I just remember like I'm like I never did my arms, and then I started kept blasting myself, right? So I did my whole legs, my whole torso, and then everyone's like, it's crazy, and then it became a thing for me that I was like, people like, you have tattoos, and I'm almost done, right? I have now I know I'm going to do my whole body, but so for me, I have a little different look in the sense of like I'm very proud of my tattoos, and but you know, I have this like everyone's like, is it a corporate suit that you have on? I'm like, no, not at all. It's been there for way before I've been
Mm-hmm.
tattooed since I was a little guy, you know. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you could see. I know this is probably not the, but this stuff is all the single needle stuff, and that's the one I did at 12 years old, you know, that says Mi Madre. This is all, and
Mm-hmm.
this got redone by Justin Hendricks actually recently.
Nice.
That's Jack Rudy stuff. It's my kid's name, and then you'll see like that's 20-year-old Chewy. You know,
Nice.
so yeah, he
Nice.
gets down, and then this is Lucky. Lucky did all that stuff. That's a Jack
Nice.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole back's done by these guys, but so, anyways, I got a lot of work I still want to do. I respect the guys that get fully suit. Are your suit? Is your suit done? Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's badass. Hell yeah. That is some serious. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a wall of body
Wow,
shape.
that is beautiful. See, okay, yeah, I'll send you some stuff for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah, I'll show you all my back piece, which is I'm super proud of. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like people
Mm-hmm.
don't understand. You guys know more than anybody, but the amount of, and I'm sure most of these tattooers and they'll watch this stuff, but the amount of shading that you have on your body, the amount of people do not get understand what you went through. So
Mm-hmm.
mad
Mm-hmm.
respect, you know. So it's like that's one thing. I don't even care if someone has a small tattoo. It's like it's like they're part of the club, right? You know, man, it doesn't matter what. And
Mm-hmm.
like people are like, "Oh, does it hurt?" I'm like, "Yes." Where does it hurt the most? I'm like, everywhere. I'm never a tough guy. You know what I mean? I'm like, it hurts. They're like, where's? I said, it hurts everywhere. I don't care if she go, oh no, it didn't hurt. It was easy. I'm like, bullshit. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. Here, let me hand you a needle. Just let me see you scribe it all over your body. You know? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mad respect. That's rad. That's badass, bro, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I love the humility because yeah, no matter what, it hurts, right? And that's a part of it. It's that, and that's what's so interesting going along with this permanent artwork on a temporary body. You're taking on this pain, which excites the fight or flight response. Your natural urges to run away or fight, but instead you got to sit there still, calm, and trust somebody to do it to you. And again,
Yeah.
people don't recognize that bond you build with your tattoo artist and the client right there. So it is such an out of body experience. Because
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
are doing something to your body that it's not its natural desire and natural reaction is to get
Yeah,
away.
you're right. When you said, it's the survival instinct is the opposite of that, and then the bond
Hmm.
with the dude that's torturing you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like a whole nother thing. Like that's where
Yeah.
it's like I don't even know how to explain it to people because I do collect other art, a lot of other art, and I am an art
Hmm.
collector. But it's like I don't like my tattooers. I have true love for these guys. You know what I mean? Like once you get to know them, so now it's like people are like, "Oh, what are you gonna get next?" It's not even for me anymore about what I'm gonna get. Like I do have a style. I just want to collect from guys I respect and love, and girls,
Hmm.
right? Like the tattooers now, it's become for me. It's personally right. I have so much love and respect for these guys that do it because I'm very close to some of these guys, right? A lot of the younger ones too, and it's a stressful job. I mean, it's
Hmm.
fucking stressful. I have I can't tell you how many conversations I have to have in my industry and what I do. Because I also own a fine dining steakhouse, which is the opposite of second floor tattoo, and so it's a whole
Oh,
different crowd. But to have these conversations with people, I'm like, you understand how hard tattooing is? I'm like, oh, and they'll tell me they're an artist. I'm like, okay, take this take this pen on this piece of paper, and draw my face, and don't erase it. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just saying, you're an artist. You're talking about, I've had these conversations multiple times. I'm like, for me, I can't draw stick figures. I can't imagine having to, even do a biomechanical piece and not being able to just erase it 5,000 times. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
people, you guys who are tattooers, especially, I mean, you guys don't understand how much, I mean, talent that's there, because it's like anything. You do it so many times and just becomes repetitive. Oh, I learned line work and then shading and do this first, that first. The amount of talent that takes from someone who's not an artist who's tried. I have every art kit you can imagine, every art piece. I'm like, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna teach myself, because I've had so many old schools like, oh, anyone could, you can learn to tattoo. You can't. I mean, you can learn to tattoo, but it's not the same and it's not easy. I don't care
hmm
even if you teach yourself from, I've had old timers tell me, um, they've taught guys who couldn't draw at all and they become tattooers. And okay, I'm not saying that's not possible, but it takes a lot of fucking work and dedication,
hmm
and more than
hmm
any college, more than any school you can go to, more than any, plus it's the stress of it, man. I was there when somebody misspelled something. I was there at a shop and someone misspelled something on a person's body, and in my head I'm like, that is completely unfixable. And this dude just fucked that dude up for the rest of his life. And I'm like, and now what? And they fixed it. They covered it all up. What would have been a simple, you know, 40-minute 30-minute tattoo became a 4-hour cover up for free. but
hmm
but it's one of those things where I'm like, the stress of that alone, and
hmm
it's I have mad respect for the tattooers, and I think that's why the tattoo heritage thing means so much to me. For me
hmm
personally, like, people to think of the tattoo, right, they think of the image, people putting this ink in their body. For me personally, it's the respect I have for these guys that dedicate their lives
hmm
to do it, that decide to become a tattooer, to blast your hand in your head, to let you know the world what you're doing, to be proud of it. I mean, Jack told me the story the other day. We're talking about something, and he's like, I put on this. How did he word it, man? I wish I could. Jack talks I can't even explain. He's so hilarious. He has his
hmm
own vocabulary, but he made a comment about how he worded it like this. It was so profound. Like, he chose this look many years ago, and he understands how people are going to look at him. Right? We were talking about nothing to do with tattoo. We were talking about political stuff, and it's the world, how crazy it is. And I was talking about, because I'm not political at all, and I'm like, even though I live in a completely different world, I live in I have a nice house, and I live around people that don't understand where I come from, and I grew up around nothing but gangsters, cholos, locked up people, and all that stuff. They're still my friends, they're still my family. I don't live anywhere near that, but I look at the world that way forever, right? You take the kid out of the hood,
hmm
we can't take the hood out of the kid, right? So personally, like, I'm not political, because I'm like, this is why, because I walk up, I own a very nice, beautiful steakhouse that's $150 a person to go eat at, right? And I've sat down at those tables, and somebody walk in blasted, and someone make a comment. And I don't know these people, but they're like, oh, these guys, you think these guys can afford this? And in my head, I'm like, fuck you, right? It's
hmm
like some business
hmm
meeting, and I'm just like, and that's how I know a lot of people look at us that are heavily tattooed, right? Like,
hmm
forever. I don't care if you have the most fine line, beautiful work, like Forrest has his beautiful work, and it's gorgeous. There's nothing gangster about it, right? It's beautiful work. But you're still gonna people are gonna judge us, right? So it's like, that's how,
hmm
for me, I'm like, fuck politics. I don't give a shit if you're right, left, green, blue. Every one of
hmm
those motherfuckers up there wouldn't like us. That's how I believe it. You know what I'm saying? If we
hmm
walked up to them with our shirts off and wanted to shake their hand, every fucking politician wouldn't like us. I don't give a shit and so for me personally, I'm just not political, right? Because I've never had anybody that chose that life treat me right, and especially when I was younger, right? So, and I'm cool. People like it, people love it, they get into it, they're all about it. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's you, that's on you.
hmm
But for me personally,
hmm
I like people for people. I don't give a shit if you're blasted, tattooed. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian. I'm the most unracist person in the world. I love everybody, and I feel like tattooing loves everybody too. So that's just what I'm
hmm
about. So
hmm Yeah, well
I
said.
think I
Yeah.
went on a little tangent there. I apologize, but
No, no, you're good. You're good. No, it's cool to get that. And just more about your personal. You made a comment about sleeping 3 hours a day and working
yeah.
7 days a week. You want to share a
Yeah,
secret
Jack.
or?
It's so funny. Jack busts my balls about that all the time. Jack's here. I'm gonna give a story about Jack real quick and go back into that. I want something that nobody knows about Jack, and I've said this to people because people think they know Jack and they don't know Jack, right?
Right.
Jack, in the Ready to Gretty, is the one that'll vouch for me on this one. Jack's the one guy that calls all his friends every week or
Hmm.
every other week. I'm talking everybody. I'm talking, and Jack's got a lot of friends, his close friends, and he checks on you. And Jack will be the one guy to be like, "You need to stop working so hard. You need to come to the show." He calls me for every car show because we both got a bunch of old cars. He's the guy that makes sure, and he only does it because he wants to make sure I'm not working too hard,
Hmm.
right? And so, and I'm not going to talk for Freddie, but Freddie went through all his trials within his life, right? He took a
Yeah.
break, and I'm sure everyone knows the stories. And Freddie told me one time, because he knows how close I am to Jack. He said Jack was the only guy through all the, I think it was over a decade, that would call and check to see where he was. And you're talking about the days when no one had cell phones, where he would call his mom.
Mm.
He would call his mom and say, "Hey, how's Freddie doing? Where is he at? Was he?" This is like over a decade of Freddie not tattooing and going through his trials and what he's doing. And Freddie's such a good dude, and he told me that. And I think Freddie and I shared that story. I'm sharing it publicly because people don't know that about Jack. And I've told like
Mm.
Corey, and Corey's a good friend too. And I told these guys like, "Wow, no one knows that about Jack." Like, and Jack's a tough guy. Jack is a tough guy, but it's like he cares about people. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
the reason I'm saying that story, because so many people don't know, and I could die tomorrow, and I want the world to know that about Jack. Like, he's really is like, and not only I'm biased because I care so much about the guy, but he really is one of those, and I've learned from that, right? Like, I do reach out to my friends. I try to. Social media makes it
Hmm.
easier than in the old days, but um,
Hmm.
he's the one. And go back to why you said 3 hours. He does bust my balls constantly, and it's so funny. I have so many friends, and the tattoo industry guys are the ones that bust my balls the most about it. Like, Kevin, you need to sleep, bro. You're gonna fucking die, dude. You gotta fucking. You need to not work so much. You need to go do more stuff. I miss you. Why weren't you at the convention? Don't tell me you're fucking working. And I was like, oh, I was
Hmm.
working, So, but there is no. I don't think there's any secret to it except for, I think it's probably my. I know I'm not perfect. I'm still working on myself, right? Like all of us. And I think that I grew up with nothing, and I'm okay now, but I think that it's hard for you to change your mindset that you don't have to keep pushing.
Hmm.
You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying, I think that's
Yeah.
just to be honest and be transparent. Like, I could say, oh, I just enjoy it, or I just that's the way I'm wired. I think that it's probably anxiety like anybody has, where I have this theory that if I'm awake, I might as well be working. It's like, and it's like,
Hmm.
and my work's not all. I'm not, I mad respect to guys that are like, have to go out and dig ditches. I'm not digging ditches for
Hmm.
20 hours, right? I couldn't do
Sure.
that. A lot of my work is on my phone, and it's all on the computer, and hunting for new gear, or trying to find different investments and things like that. So my work is not as hard, or even like I couldn't tattoo for 20 hours. It's impossible, right? You
Yeah,
go
me neither.
blind. You go blind.
Yeah.
You would, So it's like it's
Hmm.
different.
Hmm.
So when I say that, I'm just I don't know. I've been wired that way for a long time. It's
Hmm.
not sleeping. It's not sleeping. But I think it's
Wow.
just it is. I think it is an insecurity because actually I changed a lot since COVID. I was worse before COVID. I was way worse, but COVID socked me in the face. It was like, you need to stop, dude. Like, I lived at the
Mm.
restaurants. I was always there. I was, and then our
Hmm.
COVID happened in restaurant world. We got just
Yeah.
floored, right? Decimated. And it showed me like, I'm going to survive. I'm going to make it through it no
Hmm.
matter what. And
Hmm.
then after it was over, I'm like, I'm not going to go in every day. I'm going to go do
Mm.
some other things. I'm at a point in my life too where I'm investing in other like passive income industries, so I don't have to. The
Hmm.
restaurant world, anybody out there that's watching this wants to open a restaurant, don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm serious. I got three of them
Mm.
now. I had eight of them at one point. I have three of them now, plus the other businesses. And the restaurant business is not a business; it's a lifestyle. And I know
Mm.
tattooing's a lifestyle, but it's not a fun lifestyle.
Mm. Mm.
The restaurant industry at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I know that's such a you have a commodity that's constantly, deteriorating, so you got to get it out. So now I
It's
couldn't
it's
even
in,
imagine.
it's insane. The employees,
Yeah.
just the all the costs of everything's crazy and
Hmm.
changing, and
People
it's
are
just
worried
not.
about food too.
Yeah, exactly. It's constant. It's like you can't even. It's just I don't know. It's not fun. It was so fun at the beginning. I was so excited, and now it's the point in my life where people
Mm.
are offering me all these other restaurants and deals, and it has to be the best deal ever because
Mm.
brutal
You know
business
what's
for
up.
sure.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well, I just want to say, I do appreciate a little bit ago you being transparent with us, kind of sharing, some of those super high energy, effective entrepreneurs be like, oh, bro, what supplements you taking? What are you doing? And really, you're like,
right.
hey, man, it's because I come from lack, scarcity, and I'm still struggling with it, and that's, appreciated for you willing to share that, and much respect, and yeah, just to echo. Uh, Jack and Freddie and all the other, like, yeah, man, get some sleep too.
Yeah, yeah,
Rest
totally.
up, brother.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
have 5 hours, you know?
yeah, yeah, totally, yeah, yeah,
uh,
absolutely, for sure.
uh,
I
that's
think I
cool.
think we all have anxiety, right? I don't care whatever word you want to
Yeah.
call it. I think, and maybe I don't know if I have actual true anxiety like some people do, but I have tattooer friends that are close that I had a pretty famous dude just recently come to me, and a lot of guys approach me because they have, they want to figure out what to do finances, um, and this is why tattoo heritage is so important. Is these older
Yeah.
guys that are in their 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s who maybe necessarily didn't think about like, hey, what am I going to do when I'm 70 and 80?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are. I've had one recently approach me, and he was like, hey, I didn't plan for it. I didn't plan for it. I have nothing planned for it, So I helped him work a deal, and I'm like, he planned it for it more than he did, because in the sense of like, it's one thing that's cool about tattooers is they have a good eye for collections and stuff. So I'm like, well, you might not have put in the bank, but you bought this, this, and this. That if you need it
Yeah.
liquidate it, it's just things.
Yeah.
So, but I could see the anxiety in his or the worry. I'm not sure if
Mm-hmm.
anxiety is even the right word, but I think we all have it in some way, and
Sure.
and I
Mm,
definitely think I do, and I'm recognizing my faults every day. So trying
yeah.
to anyways and trying to fix them.
Well, I mean that that kind of pulls us full circle around back to, you're right, trying to create the Heritage Project is a place that, who knows, it could be a place and space that tattooers that didn't have, or it could be a place and space that eventually where tattooers come into their later careers and teach and grow
Absolutely,
and bring,
absolutely.
carry it forward. So it's really truly something that I think all tattoo artists and tattoo collectors and any enthusiasts should want to pay attention to, invest in, and of course go to. And I know you guys are coming up on I think maybe next month. You guys are getting ready to do like a fundraiser,
Yeah, it's a big
collaborate with
art show. They're
someone.
trying to get art, right? That's another thing. Like, I'm glad you. That's a perfect transition to that. Like, it, it's not even if you don't have the money, right? Artists, tattooers are able to draw and do things that don't cost anything, right? Like, I mean, or
Hmm.
cost very little. Let's say if you see stuff happen with tattoo heritage, just donate your art. Like, that's what they're trying to do mostly, right? To try to do one, two, three a year, and then it's these guys that come up to the shows. I've been to all of them. These are non-tattooer people buying the art too. So I love that exposure, right? They're getting out there, and the whole Jeremy created the whole $200 max thing. I think that's a great
Hmm.
thing too, because then it's people that can
Hmm.
afford it that normally can't, right? I have pieces that I would have paid 5 times the amount because it's who it is, right? And I know who I'm walking up and I'm like, oh, okay, no one's even bit. I just because I see the name of who it is, they don't realize right away. But those are things like you're right. If everyone gets behind it, this thing will happen. It's going to happen no matter what. It's just all about how fast it happens, right? And what you said earlier, my mind always spins, right? I think that this will absolutely once they get one brick and mortar, I can obviously because they're already getting all these people wanting to donate their collections. There will be an East Coast, a West Coast, a Midwest,
Hmm.
it'll have
Hmm.
to be right. It just
Yeah.
will. It'll just naturally become that because also what I've done all this research is what my dream is that once we get these angel donors and people that are just trying to invest in or just really donate money, we can once Long Beach done, then we are doing one on the East Coast, and when we're doing down south, when we're doing, and do
Hmm.
them all over the country because I envision this place where everyone feels comfortable,
Hmm.
whether you're tattooed or
Hmm.
not, right? Like I want to do, and I'm sure some people have talked about it, but we want to do where schools are coming in and doing field trips there, teaching them how
Hmm.
acetates worked back in the day, right? Like
Yeah.
explaining how to draw and how to trace and all this stuff. And in this environment of behind it is art and tattoo and history, but you're bringing in just everybody, it's be a one
Hmm.
place where everyone feels, have meeting spaces. Like I'm grandiose, right? Like have spaces that are in those places where people can come and rent the space out for any environment, for any event, just stay positive and make it the place where everyone can go to. And it doesn't exist right now. And there's so many collections. You tattooers collect the coolest shit. And it's like there's too much stuff. There's already probably too much stuff for one museum, right? Like people are,
Hmm.
and so to see it go somewhere and to be safe and even on a take it from a business guy, for all you tattooers that have collections, when they lend it to a museum, there's a tax financial benefit to that also.
Hmm.
So there's a whole bunch of avenues that I'm trying to help figure out now. So where, someone says, "Oh, I got a collection that's worth this amount," and they're gonna donate it for a year. Well, there's a value to that too for taxes and stuff. Legitly, I mean,
Nice.
that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
We want to help these guys
Hmm.
out, especially like you said, the old timers, having them come in and I'm envisioning the people that work there too, from the industry or collectors like we are, later donating a day, and it'll also be, people that are getting paid to work there too, that are in the industry that maybe can't tattoo anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
envision creating funds for people that get hurt, in the tattoo world,
Mm-hmm.
like I have that comes out of the museum. So really just helping the whole industry, because and you've heard the stories where all of a sudden a tattooer gets real bad carpal tunnel, or something with
Sure.
their hands are really bad. It's like it'd be cool to have a place where anything that's going to advocate the tattoo industry and the art industry comes through. And that's where I'm envisioning. I'm a big dreamer. I came from the little house in the ghetto to where I'm at now because I dream big, right? And so I can see
Mm.
this tattoo heritage thing being more than just this one brick and mortar in Long Beach. I see it as a place that we all come to, right? Like I can't wait to meet you guys. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
to come out and just everyone be there. And we have so many conventions, and I think people are in town so often that it would be going to be big. It'll be something that we're all involved with, that our kids can go see a plaque, say, oh, that's my dad's name, or at some point he
Mm-hmm.
helped out. So that's the dream
That's
of
cool.
mine for sure.
Nice. Well, I love that, and I'm glad you kind of had an opportunity to articulate, something that advocates for all tattooing, and that's some people could just see the short side of just a tattoo museum, brick and mortar tattoo museum, that could potentially be something so much more for the
So much.
industry for generations to come. So I
Yep.
think anyone who has the opportunity, whether they're donating time, energy, or artwork, it's all going to go towards, not just your industry, your career, but just for generations to come. And, you know, I'm so glad that they wrangled you into the conversation. I mean, it's not that they had to wrangle you, you were just probably in the same room when it was talking about, but that they have your skills, abilities, knowledge, and experience to be able to help them out and kind of carry this that direction. So I'm excited. So is there, if anyone wanted to, I mean, I know we could put out connections for the Tattoo Heritage Project, but I don't know, Kevin, is there any way that people get a hold of you if they wanted to connect about anything, or websites,
Yeah, of course.
Instagram, or anything?
I'll give my Instagram, whatever you guys want to.
Mhm.
And but I don't want it to be about me at all. Like
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
told Kimiko, I don't even want to be in the bios. I don't want to be anything. Like I'm not doing this for. I'm interviewing. The reason I'll do these interviews is because I want to be transparent about the industry and the world as a normal
Yeah.
guy that's like a collector, right? But I'm also, I'm in the normal business world. I'm in the normal thing, but I'll give my Instagram to you guys. You guys are everyone's welcome to call me on my phone number too. You can text me anytime anybody needs anything, or if you want to help out and I can be there, I'm totally down for all that stuff. But
Hmm.
again, I'm not doing this for any personal gain at all. And the
Sure,
reason I
sure.
do these interviews personally is I want to tell the Jack Rudy stories. I want to
Hmm.
tell people that, the museum's not about a place that we're going to hang art and you're going to look at old machines.
Hmm.
It's not going to be just that, right? At all. It's going to be a place that people come to feel peace, to feel that spiritual level, to see the
Hmm.
guys who are getting tattooed 1,000 years ago photos, to guys who are
Hmm.
getting beautiful color full body suits, right? And like talking about
Hmm.
it, like I want
Hmm.
little kids to come in there and see little flash drawings to realize people got their kids names tattooed on them, or
Hmm.
the stories of the dad who tattooed their kids drawing on them. Like all those things are so
Hmm.
important. And then also
Hmm.
though, it's gonna really, and it's not my ideas, this is the whole board and others, about having kids come and having people come
Hmm.
and having people just enjoy art. Like if you're into art, like if people can explain, and I've learned that the tattooers can't explain it the right way at times. If you like art, in which art is a massive industry, I know because I sell a ton of it. It's a massive industry, and if I sit with an art collector who knows nothing about tattooing and talk to him for 10 minutes, they're texting me 2 days later on what pieces they're collecting and buying.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I learned from Chewy, because Chewy's an avid collector, all these there's more people that buy the tattoo, and there might be a financial part of that too, but the the, the majority of the people that are buying all the vintage tattoo stuff are non-tattooed people.
Hmm.
And I was so surprised by that when he told me that. He's like, yeah. He goes, oh yeah, like the big collections that come up that are just hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever the prices may be, even the little pieces, that machines that some of these, it thinks like they're not tattooers, they're not even tattooed. So I'm like, well, and I get there might be a financial gain part of that because they know it's going to be valuable because that stuff's going away and never going to be here. But at the same time, I'm excited about that because it's just going to bring the whole world involved. If you're not cool enough to get a tattoo, oh, fuck you, but you'll still come check out our museum and have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm cool with that too. It's like, it's like, you don't want to get tattooed, that's your prerogative. It doesn't bother me at all, but it's cool that you're willing to come in and check it out and feel welcome too. That's going to be key, is they have to feel welcome, right? Like, you don't have to have a tattoo, or you can be like us and be blasted. It's like, whichever, I have this big picture of how make this the best place ever.
Nice. Well said, and great way to kind of wrangle it up for us, Kevin. It sounds like, it truly. I'm sure both Forrest and I can agree. We're grateful that you're involved, and your humility about it's not about you, but definitely you're a part of it. And I know you could probably offer advice, and anyone who's watching this too, any effort. I know the Heritage Project is down for. Like any way you want to help out, Kimiko says, "Come on in." So,
Yeah, anything. Yep.
yeah. I mean, there's so many hands need on deck. So, well, brother, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're a busy man. Probably got something you got
No
to head
worries.
off
Yeah.
to do right away.
Yeah. Next time, let me know about the uniform. I do have great shirts also.
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
I was like, you guys look like
We'll do.
a lot of when you're locked up, that's a color too. So I'm like, are you guys calling me? Is this something I don't know about? You guys in a penitentiary?
Yeah.
You guys in a penitentiary somewhere? I'm just kidding.
I'm out right now. Forrest is in. You can see his.
Yeah, I don't think that background's real, Forrest.
No.
At
At least the tattoos are real, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. It was a pleasure, you guys, for sure. If anything you need from me, you let me know, okay? For sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin.
And when you guys come to town, I got you.
Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Place to stay, a place to eat. Definitely. Anytime you're in town. I'm dead serious. For sure. My house is always open. We call it the refugee camp for Tattoo World. Come stay at my house. Come enjoy LA for a little bit. Orange County. For sure.
Nice.
I'll take you up on that.
Thanks
for sure.
so much.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much.